Hello all you viewers, this is Ben C coming at you with another video episode something of VacMedic Kirby G7 sorry, not G7 Sanitronic 7 restoration. And so yeah, let's get to it. Where I left off in the last video, I left off with the wiring. So I put the fastener back in the safety switch. Click, click. Now I just gotta rewire this, and I will show that. But yeah. So obviously, you will need to make sure you have the wire nut that was originally on this. Now if you want to make it easier on yourself and have a more, I know I'm sure that there's some electricians who will say that wire nuts aren't really you're not supposed to be able to remove them, and yes, technically, but this isn't, this is, yeah. This basically all you don't technically need to worry about that, as this is not something that, you have this. If you want to, I will be putting a link in the description of the video of a product you can get, and it's designed to make it so you can easily remove or easily rewire it if need be, so that it won't be a wire nut and you can not damage this, etc. I will leave a link in the video description, but for now let's just hop to this. So basically what you want to do is, cheese and crow, sheesh louise. Alright, here, let's see here. Basically, now you will want to be careful as, here, let's see. Have to say, sorry about this. I'll say that's good enough. You don't want to, this I'd say probably, let's see, maybe this might help, I don't know. Oh yeah, there you go. You can see how there's a little bit of oxidation going on. That is very, very minimal compared to what usually these wires usually are. So I'd say that if you want to clean these up, you can. I would not suggest that, unless unless they're like black or like completely green. This will work. I have seen ones that are completely green that worked perfectly fine. So I would not suggest, if you have that, I wouldn't suggest using that if you're using this video as a guide, etc. But yeah, so basically what you want to do here. Boy. Zoom in so you guys can see this. Let me put the wire nut down. And let's see, can you guys see this? So what you want to do is you want to take these and you want to twist them together, basically. Hold on. Nope. Okay, here we go. Ta-da! And then just grab the wire nut, slide it over, and then just twist it together. You can see it's threaded inside, so it sort of like a nut and a bolt. and that's why you want to twist the wires together. And then obviously, to remove it, you just reverse it. That being said, you really shouldn't do that unless you need to. So I will leave a link in the description of where, if you're using this video to as like an actual tutorial on how to do it, I will leave a link in the description where you can get a much more safer and less damaging means of holding these wires together. Yeah. So you also may notice that I still have one set of wires left. Now this, as I said with the red wires, this is absolutely fine. The amount of what is it? Oxidation on this one is absolutely fine. This one, as you can see, is also in... Actually, this one's in nicer condition. But you might notice that I have blue specks on there. And those match up with... Let's see here. That blue speck on the switch. Right there. So, I'm going to quickly flip this over. And see if I can make it so you guys are able to see a bit better. Let's see. Let's see, that should work. Okay. So, some of you, I don't recall if I've stated this in past videos, but I'm in a technical school. And basically, before we get to pick our shop, we go through every shop in the school for one day per shop, and then we pick out 6 of our favorite shops, and etc. And so that, and then after each shop, after those 6 shops, we go into those for a week. And so I happened to one of my shops that I picked for my 1 week, which is that's the term that my school uses. Some of my viewers may or may not know what school. Please do not say what school. I don't recall if I've said it in the videos, and so I don't want to say it and such. So please don't write it in the description, the comments, please. Thank you. But they had taught us in the electrical shop. They had taught us a unique, a smart trick, very smart. And I'm gonna have to actually retrieve the other safety switch, as this one isn't quite. It appears that either I'm going to have to make an extension for this or something, because this isn't quite long enough. So I'll be right back. Alright, so I got the replacement safety switch. Now, I'm not going to throw the other one away because I can still fix it, and I'm sure there's a few people who, if any of the professional vacuum professional guys watch this, I'm sure they're gonna be like, no, don't do that. Yeah, I'm a redneck. If I sell these, I make sure that I inform, if I were to sell these on like eBay or something, I make sure, I'm not sleazy or anything. I would make sure that the person knows that it probably needs to have this replaced. Or I would go out and purchase a new one if I felt that I could not make an extension or something that was safe. So yeah. Okay. Now that I've got this all done up again, and I've realized that when you're I'm gonna actually suggest, unless you really don't want to, either don't want to buy them or you want to keep it authentic of what, for the as much as possible, that came with it, or that this would be on, I guess okay, but I wouldn't suggest using this unless you want to make it almost identical to the brand new. So, yeah, I will put a link in the description. I highly go against these because it's actually very difficult to untwist the wire if you need to change it, especially after you've put the wire nut on. So I'm going to show you a trick that I learned, that, or now that I'm back on the proper, here, let's see, zoom out. There. So what you want to do, this is for this type of connection, or fastener, or wire securement, whatever you want to call it. As you can see, if it's righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So what you want to do is to make sure that this doesn't come out, these don't come out, and they're nice and secure. What you want to do is you want to you can get a miniature pair of lineman's pliers like this. I got actually I think I got a set of these. Was, I think, like actually a jeweler's sort of thing, but I got it at Deerfield Fair, it's called, but it was one of those tents, and they had a pack, came with this, some flush snips, some and wire twisting, I don't remember what they were called, but these are like micro lineman's pliers. Now you can find these at you can find larger versions at Walmart. I would suggest finding a smaller pair because you don't need very large pair for dealing with vacuums and stuff. But if you're doing this as an educational, and either way, the small ones are pretty nice to have. They're for good smaller. Now what you want to do is you want to grab the hold on. You want to grab the one moment. So obviously I'm not going to repeat again, but as I've said before, you want to take it, you want to halfway up the jaw, so like right there, and you want to bend it this way into like a hook. Now you want to make sure that you bent it so that way when you tighten the screw down, it faces the hooks in the same direction you're spinning it. So while if I were to have bent it so it was this way, it wouldn't secure properly because the screw is spinning the opposite way, and so it would be pulling it like this. And so that's why you want to do it like this, so that way it grips nicely. And then same with the other one. About there. And you want to leave a little bit of length at the bottom. It's alright if you don't do all the way like I have on this one. Just as long as it can grab onto the fastener. And come on. Such. So what I have done is I had to actually twist the wires together like I had to do with the red ones, as well as then proceed to, after I got them securely twisted together, I had to do the trick. And I actually will, rather than use this as an example, I will, if you go to my tool channel, is not PG, as I try to keep my vacuum channel PG for the most part. So if you, there's some people might take offense to stuff in there. So if you want to learn how to use the linemen's and do it nicely, go to my tool channel. I will also link that in the description of this video. I know I've said stuff like that before, but I finally figured out how to do it on my phone, which is what I'm recording on. So yeah, definitely going to be quite entertaining. Hopefully, if you are, I don't recommend if you're, under a certain age, I wouldn't suggest any younger than like, if 10, if that. I would say like 12, 13. Anything younger than 10, don't watch it. I wouldn't let anyone watch it. I wouldn't realistically want a 10-year-old to watch that either, but, to each their own. Because there is foul language, whatnot. But anyway, this isn't about my other channel. If you want to learn how to do that in a better, or with a better view and everything, and directions, like this video, and also please like, comment, share, subscribe, as it keeps me motivated to do these, as I do like to do these, but I don't want to waste my energy, doing something that nobody's going to bother watching. So please like, comment, share, subscribe, as I already said, or asked, I mean, and so yeah. And if you watch the previous episode, or previous video on this in the series, you will and follow the instructions that was asked in that video, I think, or maybe it was the video before that. All right, one of watch the last two videos that I've uploaded, except so you can whatever. So and if you want to see what those are about, then I will do those. Otherwise, yeah. So we've got this done. Now we need to what is it? Oh, that's right. We need to pull out the rear housing. Ta-da! Ta-da! Zoom out. Zoom out. Ta-da! Here we go. Make sure this is the right housing. Model Sanitronic 7. Yep. Ta-da! And obviously clean this out. Well, don't have to clean this out. I don't recall if I've ever mentioned this before in videos, but so often on old Kirbys, you can see where there's the residue. You can see there's often foam. There's an old foam when they were first built. That it was sort of like a seal, as well as like basically like a seal. And eventually that foam decays. So, yeah, I think I've showed it in one video or one or two videos. But yeah, if you don't have to have that foam. It should be. You should have something, but it won't hurt anything. As that foam decays, and there's still vacuums out there that are running just fine. There's still Kirbys, so yeah. And another thing to mention, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but at times the handle pin can become seized in the handle pin shaft, which is in the spring, and there. What you don't want to let that happen. So if you're in here doing following my video as like a guide, what I would suggest doing is getting getting some 3-in-1 is a good oil to use. Don't use WD-40. Do not. That is not really. It does lubricate, but it's not. One, it's flammable. It's fairly flammable, and two, it is a petroleum, and so if it gets on plastics and you always use it, it could damage the plastics over time. 3, it evaporates very quickly. So, and since this is dust and stuff, it attracts dust, and you don't want dust because that sucks up the oil, or the oil, WD-40, and causes stuff to get stuck and seized. And so I would suggest using it's called 3-in-1 oil, just standard 3-in-1 oil, and give it a couple of squirts in here, and probably maybe a little bit around in here, both ends, to make sure that this is not this doesn't seize. And if it is seized, I would suggest using some WD-40 to get it out, and if you really have no choice, use maybe some pliers to pull this out if it's stuck and you need to get the handle apart. But other than that, you should be fine with these. I've only had, I think 3 units that I remember, at most 3 units that I remember, that have had the pin either extremely stiff or seized, or somebody mangled the pin and drilled holes in it. That was only once, but with these, you don't drill a hole through the end and put a, what is it called? Pull, what the heck is it called? A pin, a special pin. I can't remember what it is called right now. Somebody had drilled a hole through this and put a pin in it so it couldn't come out. And that's another thing you don't do. If you watched one of my older videos where I discovered that some bumbling idiot decided to use a permanent epoxy or epoxy adhesive schmoo, whatever, to hold the fan housing together, I had some choice words, and that's one thing you don't ever do. And another thing is, don't drill a hole through this. Now, if you happen to have it, you get it, and have a hole through it and a pin, I would recommend, if you are intending to use this as a unit, and you have some of the accessories such as the portable handle, I would highly recommend remove the pin and remove this and purchase a new one, or find a second, go on eBay and look for Kirby or vintage Kirby handle pins, handle pivot pins, excuse me, or go to Kirby directly and ask and see if they still sell them. If you have the manual, you can also look up the manual online, and I'm sure there's a PDF that you can download or whatever, and it should say what this is actually, what they call it, and then you can just ask for that. But you should make sure to mention that it's an yeah. So now obviously a pin is not as upsetting. It is still why, there's a reason that this comes out, kind of thing, but it's not as infuriating as this, because this, you can remove the pin and still use this, usually. Whereas, this, you could potentially break the housing or something like that, trying to get this apart. And there's also chemical reactions that can happen if you use a chemical to remove the glue and stuff. That a chemical reaction can occur and such. And so a good adhesive to use is right there, Elmer's glue stick. So that way you don't need to worry about, basically that's all. I kind of went off on a rant tangent. I didn't mean to. If you want to, I've noticed over my time repairing these, that these sometimes there's excess flashing on these. Oops. And you can see I cleaned this one up as best I could. And the flashing, basically what I mean by flashing is when they cast it, there was excess metal, sort of it was a little bit over, it squeezed out the edge a little bit, and so it made a sharp, jagged edge. And so if you don't want that, usually that's not, anything that gets in the way or anything or damages anything, but If you don't want that, you can take a small file and clean up the edges, etc. I've already done that mostly on this one. I'll probably do this part, just not right now. Here's a good example, like this right here. But I will probably clean this up later. But yeah, just a file, a metal file, obviously, and clean it up real quick, so on. But yeah, so let's put this back on. And I will say right now, I don't recall if I've said this before, but I'll say it again. I highly recommend, if you want to keep these original, or if they are in good enough condition that there's no wear or anything on them. Here, actually, let me turn off torch. There you go. If there's no focus, if there's no stripping on the head of the screw, then I would suggest going and using them again if you want to. But if you don't feel comfortable reusing these, because I've had times where these have completely just mangled themselves after removing them once or twice because they were so old and seized in there. If that's the case, you can also, there's several options. You could put a little bit of a Lucas graphite anti-seize. You can get it like AutoZone and stuff like that. Graphite, don't get the copper. Or you could use Lucas red and tacky grease fortified with anti-seize. Just rub a little bit on there and thread it in. But if you don't want to use these screws again, and because you're worried about them seizing or getting seized inside their threads, you can also go to like the hardware store, like Lowe's and such, and buy a little bag of let's see here, these screws, and let's read this. They are 1024 by 3/4 inch, so the thread is 1024 by 3/4 inch. And I wouldn't suggest using or getting the brass ones, zinc or stainless. Stainless would probably look a little bit nicer. But yeah, this one, actually, I think, focus. I don't know why I still have this one. This one's a good example of some wear. I gotta throw that out, actually, because I don't really feel like having to fight with that. But here's a good clean one. So my video is almost out of time, so I'm gonna have to cut it short, but put the engine back, the housing on, and I'll make another video at some point soon. So Ben C signing off, and yeah, please like, share, subscribe.